Welcome back to the Morning Brief on Channels Television, and rightly so, as Jeffrey has said, a lot of talking to do in the coming days, with the coalition taking shape, adopting the ADC as its political party to field its interest in 2027. But more importantly, a lot of thinking and sieving through this process to do as well. And let's start off with that exactly. And Mr. Daniel Bwala joins us virtually from London. He is a special advisor to the president on public communication. Mr. Bwala, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, indeed. Good to see you. Some say that this has sent jitters through the camp of the APC, Mr. Bwala. Is that the case? Are Mr. President's aides rallying around and running around, and indeed those in the APC camp as well, to see how best to respond to this in terms of strategy?
Well, thank you for having me. It's in the midst of all of this, but I think that the key players are the Nigerian people, and they are seeing the political activities and the movement, the motives and the motivation. And they can tell whether it is a motivation that is driven by inordinate ambition or by a correct desire to help the Nigerian people. But first, let us start by defining who they are. That coalition. It is an association of wild goose chasers consisting of internally displaced politicians forming a dead on arrival political party, better described in the words of Peter Obi as a structure of criminality. That is the definition of the coalition. The second thing is, you will know in Hausa that existed, they say you will know a better Friday on Wednesday. What they have done can be described as hostile takeover. A hostile takeover is a forceful takeover of a party or organization by another organization. Unfortunately for them, what would have qualified for the legality of their conduct would have been if they have the 50% at least the voting share of the party they are seeking to take over from. But from yesterday's objection by Kachiku, it appears that the hostile takeover is not consistent with due process of law. And that actually talks about, or rather reveal, the personality and motive of the coalition. We welcome opposition, but whatever you do, you should do it well. A coalition that comes illegally to take over another political party in a hostile manner cannot have the interests of the Nigerian people. We will later talk about the capacity of each of those individuals that come together, and we will tell you the difference between this coalition and the coalition that took over power in 2015.
But Mr. Bwala, are you being fair if you describe this coalition as a conglomerate of wild goose chasers, particularly if we went down memory lane and recall the rallying of political parties who formed a merger to become the All Progressives Congress? Some would have said that, the actors at the time saw the future. And today we have, the administration of the APC, in fact, the second, if you consider President Muhammadu Buhari from 2015 to 2023, and now President Bola Tinubu of the same APC government. So aren't they being clairvoyant as well, knowing the strategy to deploy to unseat a ruling government?
No, they are not being clairvoyant. They are actually being hypocritical, deceptive, and manipulative. And I tell you the difference between these two coalitions. In 2015, events leading to the 2015 election from 2013, that coalition was the coming together of political parties of interest who in their legacy form didn't have a problem. In fact, they came up strong. So whether you look at the ACAD, ANPP, ABGA, all of those individuals that came together, one, they didn't have any problem in the parties that they were bringing into the board. This coalition don't have a party they are bringing. It is a group of internally displaced politicians. The second thing is, in the build-up to the 2015, that coalition had a clear-headed idea as to who will lead and then what exactly they were going to do. They were not satisfied with the happenings in the government at the time. They could really see that the people, the Nigerian people, were fed up with Goodluck Jonathan's government. They had a well-defined plan on what they will do when they take over power, and in their respective rights, they had a clear vision of where they are going. If you look at this coalition, so to speak, why I use the word internally displaced politicians is that what is bringing them together has nothing to do with the aspirations of the Nigerian people. It has more to do with their feelings of how either they were treated or how they were not able to get what they wanted, which was the basis for them coming together. For example, in the 2015 coalition, you will not find a case scenario like that of Erufai, where somebody is leaving a political party and is saying that I brought evil and I want to take out evil. You will not also find an element like that of Peter Obi, who has scammed the obedient movement, because what we're hearing is that they say they have been scammed. The contract that brought the Peter Obi and the obedient movement under the umbrella of Labour Party was that Peter Obi was going to be the flag bearer of the party. They had a clear vision that Peter Obi would be president. Right now in the coalition, Peter Obi has conceded, but has given away his ambition to be the president. So it is a case of 419 from that angle. From the angle of my former principal, Atiku Abubakar, he's leaving a party where a lot of people will tell you they have not seen him display the leadership to fight through until he conquers the challenge. And so people will feel if you run away from a political party when you could have easily stayed and solved the problem, when the Nigerian problem is more than just a political party, what evidence do we have that if tomorrow Nigeria develops a problem, you will run away? So if you look at Amechi, for example, you will know that when Amechi lost the primaries, Amechi never proceeded to support Ashwagi towards the election. So I can keep calling 1-1-1-1-1, and you will see that their motivation has no correlationship with the feelings and the aspirations of the Nigerian people, but it has more to do with their own thinking and their own plans to achieve what they have always wanted, which is to grab power in the hope that they will enjoy the booties of power.
So, Mr. Boala, wouldn't it be hasty to begin to conclude on some of the persons you've talked about? For instance, they've said they've not come to the item on the table that has to do with who gets what. In fact, the leadership is an interim leadership from where they sit. So for now, nobody knows who is going to be the running mate. Nobody knows who the flag bearer is. I think they're just keeping the APC guessing as far as this whole coalition is concerned. And perhaps the difference between this and 2014, maybe this is a coalition. That was a merger, literally, that unseated a government. I would like you to speak to that. But I want to, something that David Mark, the former Senate president, said. He said, the coalition is to rescue Nigeria from collapse, rebuild democracy. When you hear such things, what do you think he means? What do you think he sees? What do you think they are saying?
Yeah, one of the characteristic of a revolutionary, or you can say messiah, or a problem solver, is that the person is not part of the problem or created a problem. You remember the theory by Albert Einstein that you cannot solve a problem by starting the problem. You have to have a new mind and new thinking. If you look at those people who are forming the coalition, either they were part of the situation they are claiming to be walking away from, or in fact, they were the actual problem that brought about the Republic of All Progressives Congress. There is none of them that is a phenomenon. And that is why I am telling you that they are not like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. With respect to whether it is early to prejudge who is going to be the flag bearer and the rest, I mean, all of their meetings are in what we talk about in plain sight. All of their meetings, and I can tell you today that there are coalition of political voices. There is one part of the political voice that suggests Atiku will be the running mate, Atiku will be the flag bearer, Peter Obi will be the running mate. There is another school that is agitating for Peter Obi to be the flag bearer, Erufai to be the running mate. There is another school of thought that is pushing for Atiku to be the flag bearer, Rotimi Amechi to be the running mate. And there is the fourth school that is waiting for a retired general to decide for them who are going to be the leaders and the running men. I mean, one of the things that I have learned in life is that you cannot achieve anything in life if you don't define where you're going to right off the cuff. So to form an association where you don't even know where you're going to clearly tells that it is going to be the coming together of forces. And that's why it led to what we call the forceful or hostile takeover of a political party.
All right.
That's how they will take over the lives of the Nigerian people in a hostile manner.
All right, Mr. Boala. Isn't what you're describing even their own strategy? Because you're smartly, breaking down things as much as possible, but they may still be in the realm of guesses. Perhaps it's their strategy to keep the APC camp guessing. So what exactly is this? Do they have ideology? But in addition, I would like you to respond to that. In addition to that response, you can't wish away Atiku Abubakar and Amechi, the role they played to unseat a sitting government that they were part of. They went against their principal, who was the president, and they helped the APC, that merger, to be able to be in power now 10 years. You cannot wish away El-Rufai, the role he played in ensuring that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu became the flag bearer of the party. He literally put himself out there and all of that. So are you going to, so two things. Can you wish away this influence they brought, given their track record in terms of politicking specifically? Right. And again, perhaps their strategy is to keep you guessing.
Right, without sounding boastful, there is no scenario that they will come up with that will defeat Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and let me give you my reason. Let us start with Atiku Abubakar, who appears to be the strongest of them. Well, he is a patriotic citizen, but the truth of the matter is that evidence has shown that he may not have been designed to be Nigeria's president. And his biggest opportunity in life came in 2023. He will never have that opportunity again. And he was defeated by President Bola Tinubu. If you take it to El-Rufai, who could not even pass the test to be a minister in our government, cannot be a threat to our president. If you come to Rotimi Amechi, remember Asiwaju Bola Tinubu defeated Rotimi Amechi in the primaries, and Asiwaju came from as an outsider. Rotimi was a minister, super minister in the government, who had all the support of instruments in the government, yet Asiwaju defeated him in the primaries. Which other fellow in their group that you could say that has not had an encounter where Asiwaju gave them a portion of their defeat? So what scenario are you, now even I believe, even if the Constitution and Electoral Act permits all these people you mentioned, about 6 or 7 of them, to come together as the running mate and the candidates and the running mate, I am telling you, none of those scenarios will defeat Asiwaju. Let me tell you our strongest case in this. Nigerians are not prepared to go back to fuel subsidy. And that's what these people are about, where there will be the pilfering of the resources of Nigeria, where it will be the recycling of policies that have not helped us. Nigerians are not ready. Nigerians have gone past, in a way, the toughest and the most difficult moment of our history, which is the when we are laying the foundation for economic recovery. And the fundamentals of our economy are intact. We came $35 billion, $33 billion in the foreign reserve. We have over 40 billion foreign reserve. We have seen over 300,000 people benefiting from government scholarship. We have seen infrastructural development in every part of Nigeria. Which of the governors will support them? In 27 governors could not pay salaries before Asiwaju became president. Now they have more than enough to pay salaries, to do infrastructure, to pay their debt, and to move on. They cannot go back to individuals who are focusing on subsidy, where there will not be increased allocation to the state. So this is when the time comes, we will come to the market, which is going to be a trade fair. Let me tell you without sounding boastful, I don't belong to the school of thought that would dismiss any opposition. I will never be forever. But the time will come when we will be asked to bring our facts on the table. And I will tell you that they are nothing new. They don't have any clear vision of what they want to do. They just want to grab power because they feel the temptation to grab power will bring them to relevance, will make them acquire wealth, or in a vengeful way. How can El-Rufai, for God's sake, say I brought Asiwaju to government, evil to government, and I'm taking him out? So he has this total disregard for the voters, total disregard for democratic values, total disregard to the very essence of what democracy is, which is power to the people, and they exercise their powers through the vote, and their representative represent them. These are individuals, but they are dictators, they are autocrats, and they are only in this for the power and for the resources, but not about the good of the Nigerian people. They have not been able, Mr. Uzoma, they have not been able in 2 years to provide alternatives to what we are doing. I challenge them. They have not been able to provide. So when are they going to think about what they will do after they grab power? So these are some of the few reasons, some of the elements that granted me the conviction that they are going nowhere.
Well, Mr. Bwala, members of the opposition have appealed for patience, saying that they're aggregating their ideas, and of course they're going to provide an alternative to the policies of this administration that you're talking about. But speaking of democratic values, you say that this administration is not opposed to opposition. But we saw that in spite of the challenge in 2013 with registration, eventually INEC registered the merging of political parties to become APC. But the difference is the case here now, because the story is to the effect that the coalition was unable to register the ADA, and due to, what some would consider minor omissions in their applications, application that could have been sorted. And the word electoral, for instance, is what is being cited, and hence the resort to the ADC. Can we go with the strong perception being held that the government of President Tinubu is using institutions to muzzle opposition?
So we see, even from what you said, I can rely on what you have said against them. You call it minor problems. Why should they even have the problem in the first place if they are competent and they know what they are doing? Ordinary registering a political party, they have not been able to do that. How can they register the destinies of the Nigerian people? And number two, they are coming to under a political party without a well-defined. For example, we in the governing party, we are not INEC. And we all know that the name of the party is insignificant if the individuals forming the party, they have the support and the aspirations of the people. And this tells me that these people are unprepared. One, I told you about not being able to define what they want to do. Two, I told you about they are having a confusion as to who will lead, who will not lead. Three, we are even having the issue of clearly when I talked about not providing alternative, and you said probably it is later. How can you do it later? Even at the formative stage, you have not been, because the definition of your vision and mission will be encapsulated in the objective of the party you seek to register or party you want to take over from. They also don't have. And the last of it all, even the party you wanted to go and register, you are committing errors here and there. Don't the Nigerian people, or should the Nigerian people expect anything else to understand this is a total expression of the incompetence and lack of vision? But we go past that one because we believe in the substance, not just the form. Let them come to the field. Let's talk. You see, none of them came from abroad. All of them have governed at one time or the other. So there is a record to talk about. And you cannot tell me you bring a change when you have not brought a change to where you led in the past. In fact, let me put this to you very strongly. Since after Asiwaju won the election till today, what activities can you point at that these people have been doing to alleviate the sufferings of the Nigerian people, to show empathy and concern to the people? So is it when you have acquired power before you begin to show? Because in their individual rights, they are rich. One of them was even saying that he is poor and is suffering. In the beginning, they are beginning with deception, telling the Nigerian people they are suffering. So everything right off the cuff from the foundation tells you that there is insincerity, there is lack of transparency, and there is no clear idea as to where to go. And the reason why there is no idea is not like they cannot have. Some of them have governed. It's because the motive behind their coming together has nothing to do with the aspiration of the Nigerian people. And I tell you this today, you can mark it. I will come to your studio, God keeping us alive, and tell you I told you that the Nigerian people will reject them overwhelmingly because they don't look like it's like the hand of Jacob and whatever, the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau. They don't look at that phenomenon that the Nigerian people are thinking they need for the future. No, they don't look at it. It is a fakeness that is packaged to give Nigerian people the impression that this is a departure from what is going on, or this is a new idea, because they have not been able to express the idea.
Mr. Bwala, it's interesting your position. Isn't that the reason political parties are formed? To take over power and push their own ideas. Isn't that the reason political parties are formed, to come together and take over power? I remember there was a video that emerged that the president was saying, you don't just, nobody will give you power. You fight for it, you grab it. I'm sure you remember that video. At that time, you were still in the PDP. So isn't that the reason for coming together, at least to form a political party to now profile whatever solution they want to profile. And that's on one hand. Are you by any chance, or is the presidency by any chance, underestimating this ADC coalition?
No, you see, they just formed. So we haven't had the time to assess and then express whether it is underestimating or overestimating. But what we are looking at are the individuals that came together. The party cannot be greater than the individual members. You see, the party cannot be greater than the idea that is pushed by individual members that came together under the party. So, and we are already seeing faulty foundation right off the core. The forceful takeover, the deception that followed, no clear-cut idea as to where you're going. How can you come together? Like, I agree with you, political parties coming together, but it's a coming together of people of ideas. If I ask you, what is the idea behind their coming together? Other than they want to collect power or saying that they want to reshape Nigeria, I challenge the media. None will tell me one clear idea, one issue.
Mr. Bola, my apologies. When we asked, Mr. Bola, when we asked yesterday, my apologies for cutting into your thought. When we asked yesterday, they said these are early days. Let them come together first and present their program or their ideas. So we actually did ask that question as to the effect that we need to start talking about alternative idea. The presidency and the president has taken a neoliberal approach in our economy, and we can all see what it is. And they're saying, no, it's too early for that. Let's come together, let's amalgamate, and then we'll get to that conversation.
Shouldn't that alone, you see, any case that they bring as their best case is even the reason why they should not be supported. You see, because one, shouldn't Nigeria, the Nigerian people and the press be worried that somebody said he doesn't have idea of where he's going yet, but when they come together, they will tell you the idea? Is a clear sign. I teach leadership. It's a clear sign that the end is uncertain. It's a clear sign that there is no definition as to where you go. Everything in life starts with the vision. Vision in their respective group in the first place. In the first place, before they even start to aggregate themselves. And then when they come together, there must be a fundamental. In the event leading to 2015, what the coalition said was that Goodluck Jonathan was clearly mismanaging the resources of Nigeria. They said the insecurity situation at the time was palpable, and Jonathan was living in denial because he did not even believe that there was a kidnap of the Chibok girls. They went ahead to say that public officers under Jonathan are living a reckless life, abusing political office. They went ahead and say Jonathan seemed to, by his conduct, show that he is captured and under hostage. Now, then they proceeded to say that they have a plan of bringing social welfare to the Nigerian people by critically looking at the energy sector and ensuring that it is rejigged so it can deliver on the promise to the Nigerian people. They were clear about their vision, clear about the idea. Now, Peter Obi was asked about 3 weeks ago in a program, Charles Anagoli's program on Arise, as to whether he believes the removal of the subsidy and floating of the Naira is legal or that he could have done something differently. He agreed that what we did was correct. He said, but he would have done it differently. They asked him, how differently would you have done? Believe me, he started singing and was not able to give the alternative to what we said. Atiku Abubakar, my former principal, most respectfully, said he was going to remove the subsidy gradually. That is a faulty one, because how gradual are you going to remove the subsidy? Up till date, they have not been able to define when there is no resources. So who else? The rest of them, Rufai's anger is, I brought Tinubu, I will remove him. He's even more arrogant in the way he talked about. Like the Nigerian people are not part of the conversation. I brought them, I will take them out.
Well, Mr. Boala, some would say that even the execution of the policy under this administration has not fulfilled its purpose to the extent that many are asking where's the subsidy savings. But that's not where I'm headed. Where I'm headed is you have called the individuals who have formed this opposition many names in the last 15 minutes or so. But are you forgetting also that a number of them were key members of the ruling All Progressives Congress at different times? And some would say that, they're all responsible for where we are today, including members of your own government currently.
Right, but you see, when you said some people will say, we have removed subsidy, where is the savings? Are you not seeing it in plain sight? The saving is what has led to the increased allocation to the state that has created enormous resources that that they were able to pay. They are able to pay salaries consistently and on time. They're able to settle their debt, whether foreign or domestic. They are able to improve on those infrastructure. There are states I can point at, time will not permit us to tell you what they are doing. The president has gone around the country, both states that are led by our party members, states in Labour, like for example, Labour Party, Uti has attested to that, Mba in Enugu has attested to that, Soludo of Abga has attested. Across party lines, they agree that the steps taken by the president has brought robust resources to them. That's the subsidy setting. So how about the grants that were given to people for study? That's where the subsidy removal has led to. What about the infrastructure all across the country, left, right, and center? That's where the subsidy money. So there is a implementation of the savings of subsidy in the eyes of the people. We would have thought if they want, I can coach them on how to play opposition. Of course, you know, after the election when I was on PDP, I was a lone ranger in the media critiquing each and every policy of the party, providing alternative. To me, political association, the only way you can show to the people that it's an association for the good of Nigeria is when you can define what you're doing. The days of grabbing power are over. These are the days where if you don't have idea, you cannot be given the trust of the Nigerian people. You talked about some of them were in our party. Of course, that is life. I don't have anything against their individual character. That's the last thing I would do. I never believe in that. I'm talking about issues. And the issue starts with idea. Everything in life starts with an idea. This Channels Television, where you are successfully established, started with idea, with the chairman. He was working somewhere, he came up with the idea of a new way of doing television. And anybody who sees channels together with other television can talk about distinctive difference between Channels Television and the other television. Everything rises and falls on idea. If you don't have idea of where you're going and you say it is when we get to the bus stop, we will have idea, or that we want to keep people surprised, we'll keep the ideas in our mind, is because the idea in your mind is acquisition of power, is control of the state resources, is vengeance and vendetta, and it is also the expression of your reaction to the fact that this government has stopped the areas we've been fed with. Look at some of the people that serve under Buhari. How can somebody who has served as Attorney General for 8 years, what idea did you bring in the 8 years? And now you say in a new idea you bring ideas. Come on, come on.
Well, Mr. Bwala, more questions arise on your point about increased allocation to the subnationals. There are a lot of questions in that space.
It is for politics.
But that's for another day. We must anchor at this point. And thank you so much for your time and contributions to this conversation. The matter about the coalition is clearly an ongoing conversation. Mr. Daniel Bwala is a special advisor to the governor, to the president rather, on policy communication. I know you're going to take me up on that. He's a lawyer and special advisor to the president on policy communication. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Bwala, for your time on the program.
Merci. Thank you.
So we'll take a break now. There's more politics to talk about. This time we head to River State. We'll be right back. Stay with us.